So a few weeks ago, we put out this video right here where I broke down the 9 San Diego areas I would personally move to if I were relocating here this year. And that one did really well. From people who watched it, from people who were reaching out to us, was all some version of the same thing. Okay, but which neighborhood inside that city? And that is the right question, because here's what a lot of people don't figure out until they've already moved. 2 people can land in the exact same city in San Diego County and end up living completely different lives. Same city, same price point even, but the neighborhood they picked, completely different vibe. Like one person moves up to Oceanside and ends up in South O. Walkable, coastal, coffee shops right down the street. Another person moves to Oceanside and ends up a little further inland, a little bit more space, more tract neighborhoods, totally different day to day, but they are not the same experience at all. And that's what this video is really about. We're going one level deeper today. Now, are these the only neighborhoods I'd recommend in these cities? Not at all. There are a ton of great pockets all throughout San Diego County. These are just the ones that stand out right now based on lifestyle, location, value, and kind of overall feel. And after helping a lot of people buy and move here over the years, Cassie and I have seen firsthand that the best neighborhood really comes down to how you actually want to live day to day. So if one of these doesn't feel like the right fit, reach out, because I'm Chris Erickson with the Livin in San Diego real estate crew, and this is what we do every single week. We'll help you narrow down the areas that actually make sense for you and your family. And number 7 is the one that a lot of people buying in San Diego have never even heard of. But once they go check it out, they end up falling in love with it. So stick around for that one. We're covering everything from walkable, coastal neighborhoods, surf towns, to family suburbs, hidden gems, and some of the best value pockets left in North County. First up, and this is one of the most underrated spots in all of Carlsbad, and it's a neighborhood called Calavera Hills. It sits in the northeast section of the city, 92010 zip code, and it's one of the most balanced lifestyles in all of North County. You're centrally located in North County, close enough to the beaches that getting there's easy, but you're not paying the full coastal premium. And for a lot of people, families who we've worked with, that's really the sweet spot. Right in the center of the neighborhood, you've got Calavera Hills Community Park, 21 acres, baseball fields, softball fields, basketball courts, a huge gymnasium, youth programs, summer camps. It's a huge amenity. And during the summer, Carlsbad runs their TGIF concert series through a bunch of parks around the city. And this is one of the stops. You can bring your own lawn chair, you can bring your own food, your own drink, and it's a great community event. Now, one of the biggest things that makes Calavera Hills stand out is actually the open space. You've got Calavera Preserve right there. It's over 250 acres, and the trail access comes right out of the community. So you go from your front door and you're on the trail. The biggest loop, or one of the big loops, is like 5.8 miles. But when you get to the top, you have gorgeous views looking down to the coast. It's like a good workout, but it's not a crazy, brutal hike. It's a suburban hike, and it's the kind of everyday amenity that a lot of neighborhoods that we're gonna mention today just don't have. Housing here is all within an HOA, and the fees are relatively affordable, especially compared to a lot of other cities around here. And you've got a real mix of single family homes, townhomes, and some condos across about 19 different communities. The single family homes were built mostly in the 80s and the 90s, so you got more space between the homes than you find in like the brand new communities being built today. And there's a huge range of sizes depending on what you're actually looking for. Schools are also a big draw here too. Sage Creek School is right in the neighborhood, strong STEM program. New residents actually get the choice between Sage Creek and Carlsbad High School. There's 2 elementary schools and a middle school, all within walking distance of the community. The school setup matters for a lot of families coming in. And one thing to know is that there's not a ton of retail within Calavera Hills, but you're only a few minutes down the hill from Carlsbad Village, and the shops at Carlsbad are pretty close too. It's a big mall, Dave & Buster's, a few other chain restaurants, all that kind of stuff, not too far. Now, this checks a lot of boxes, but you want newer construction, more of a golf course community feel. Well, that's exactly what this next one is. So next up is Arrowwood. It's over in the northeast section of Oceanside. And this is one of those neighborhoods that a lot of buyers don't think about until they actually start comparing what their budget gets them here versus what they pay in some of the more well-known coastal communities nearby. So here's what happens, and we've seen it a bunch of times. Someone starts their search in Carlsbad, they look at what their budget gets them, and then they drive through Arrowwood and they go, wait, I get way more house here, and that's the story of Arrowwood. It's one of the better value, newer communities, and not enough people know about it. Arrowwood's a newer master plan community with a golf course right in the center, Arrowwood Golf Course. And it's a really beautiful course. My brother, my pops, they recently went out there. There's also a driving range, a flight deck experience, food, drinks. It's really a solid setup sitting right in the middle of the neighborhood. Now the homes up there, they tend to have bigger footprints than what you find at similar price points in some of the coastal communities. I mean, you're in Oceanside, but it's not really that coastal. We'll get into that in a sec, but you're getting more house for your money out there. And the community has a pool, has a community center, all to go along with that. Now there's a few things that you got to know about Arrowwood. You're actually in the northeast section of Oceanside. So you're further from the coast than some of the other neighborhoods we're covering. You're closer to Camp Pendleton, so you might hear some military activity from time to time. Now most people, when they move here, you get acclimated fairly quickly, but it's definitely worth knowing. Now for the schools in Arrowwood, it actually feeds to the Bonsall School District, and the elementary school is right in the neighborhood, but even though you're in Oceanside, you don't go to the Oceanside School District. So for the buyer who wants a newer feel, a bigger home, and a golf course community, Arrowwood consistently delivers. Now real quick, if you're doing this research and you want something you can actually save, you can actually reference, we put together a free neighborhood guide that covers all the major areas of San Diego County, the different microclimates, the school districts, different price points by city, things to do, our full relocation process, everything all in one place. It's called the Moving to San Diego Neighborhood Guide, completely free. The link's gonna be right down below in the description, so go grab that. But now let's get on to the third neighborhood. Neighborhood 3 is called Bressi Ranch, and this one comes up constantly when we're talking through options and people are looking in Carlsbad, and there's a real reason for that. Bressi Ranch is probably the best example of a master plan community in all of North County that actually delivers on the lifestyle. Not just the houses, right? A lot of master plans feel like just homes, but here's the neighborhood, here's the HOA pool, good luck. Bressi Ranch has a lot more going on. Right in the community, you got walkable retail, restaurants, shops, coffee. You really don't need to get in your car for everyday stuff. And that's actually super rare for suburban North County. And people really appreciate it, and that's why they're living there. The community feel is actually really great here in Bressi Ranch. Halloween, it's a whole thing. If you drive through there, you'll see. Holidays are events, people know their neighbors, there's kids everywhere, and the homes hold their value really well. Demand here stays consistently strong. You have the central Carlsbad location. It's really tough to beat for commute access, and it's just a short drive when you want that local coastal energy if you want to go down to Carlsbad Village or any of the coastal areas right there. So for the buyer who wants polished, a walkable, community-driven suburb here in North County, Bressi Ranch probably belongs at the top of that list. Now, if you want great schools, solid value, and views toward the lagoon, the next neighborhood might be for you. And that neighborhood is Santa Fe Hills, and we're talking about the one in Solana Beach, not the San Marcos one. There's actually two neighborhoods, same name, but completely different setup. Now, Solana Beach is one of the smaller coastal cities in San Diego. It's only about 13,000 people, and it's actually rated the #1 best suburb in all of San Diego County, according to niche.com. So the demand here is real. Santa Fe Hills is one of the most accessible entry points for detached family homes in Solana Beach, which makes it worth knowing about. This neighborhood sits just east of the 5 freeway, and all the streets start with Santa. You have Santa Victoria, Santa Domingo, Santa Rosita, which is why locals just call it the Santas. Now, this is all built in the 1970s, and here's one of the coolest things about how it was laid out. A lot of these streets in there, they're single loaded streets. So houses only on one side of the street. So as you go up the hill, you have a lot of these homes where you actually have really great views looking down towards the lagoon, looking down towards the coast. And on a clear day, it's amazing up there. Now, over the past few years, there's been a steady stream of renovation projects throughout the neighborhood. So people are coming in, buying the original homes, making them their own. So like you've got a mix, right? You have the untouched homes at lower price points. You have the fully updated homes that look completely different on the inside than you'd expect them when you're driving by on the street. Now, there is one thing. Once you get closer to the 5, you're going to get a ton more road noise. So you're definitely going to want to keep that in effect. Now, that's reflected in the pricing, but as you move further up the hill, it quiets down quite a bit and the views get a lot better. But it's worth paying attention for if you're looking for specific homes in here. For schools, you have Solana Beach Unified. It's highly rated. You've got an elementary school right in that neighborhood. Earl Warren's going to be your middle school, and then Torrey Pines High School is probably about a 10-minute drive or so. So a really strong district overall. And the broader Solana Beach lifestyle is actually pretty awesome too. Cedros Avenue, not to mention Coast Highway down there, but Cedros as well as an extra little bonus. You have restaurants, you have the Belly Up Tavern, which is one of the best live music venues in all of North County. There's a train station right in the center of town, and the Lagoon Trail access from this neighborhood connects you to one of the best outdoor spots in the whole area. Now, this isn't a flashy neighborhood, but the people who move here They get it pretty quickly once they settle in. Now, if this neighborhood's not for you, but you're looking for that classic coastal San Diego vibe, this next neighborhood is gonna be for you. This next neighborhood is called Lucadia. It's a neighborhood of Encinitas, and this is just a really cool neighborhood. So if you picture what classic coastal San Diego looks like, where you have coffee shops, beach cruisers, surf culture, local restaurants, a little funky around the edges, Lucadia is probably the version which still feels the most authentic, still feels old school. There's some changes going on, but that feel is still increasingly rare. Coast Highway 101, it's the main drag. And when you cruise through there, you've got local coffee shops, restaurants, boutiques, bars, and it just feels local. It's not polished. It's not too touristy. It feels like people who live there built that neighborhood and they're proud of it. Some of the OG spots have been here for decades, mixed in with newer places alongside them. We're seeing some change over the last few years, but that combination gives this stretch a lot of character. And one of my favorite restaurants in all of North County is called Valentina. It's right there on Coast Highway. You got a little Mediterranean, a little seafood, awesome for date nights. And there's a bunch of solid spots right in that corridor. The Lucadia Farmers Market happens every single weekend right at Paul Ecke Elementary School, but they're actually tearing that school down. They're gonna relocate the farmers market while that's being rebuilt. But I don't know exactly where that's gonna be right now, but they got live music, local produce, great community energy every single week. And now housing here is one of the most diverse mixes you'll find anywhere in North County. Original beach cottages, you have big custom homes on large lots up the hill, newer infill developments. It's really a range of different types. So lot sizes tend to run a little bit bigger here, and a lot of them are long and skinny, which give you a ton of character. Now the bigger properties up on a hill, you have some ocean views up there, and then Neptune Avenue, which is one of the most expensive streets in all of Encinitas, sits right on the coast in Lucadia. So there's a real range depending on what you're looking for. Now let's jump into beach access for Lucadia. You have Beacons, which is one of the iconic beach spots in Lucadia, right? Great surf, cool bluff trail going down to the coast. You have Moonlight Beach just to the south, and it's a main family beach in Encinitas. You have Ponto Beach just up to the north. It's right in Carlsbad on the border. It's a solid, easy option, great parking, super easy to get to with the kids. And one thing to know about day-to-day life in Lucadia is crossing the train tracks. It's super limited. Train tracks run right to the east of Coast Highway. Lucadia Boulevard is the main crossing in this stretch. And a lot of people here, they use e-bikes, which helps them get around. And now they do have future plans to add a few more crossings, but there's really not a ton right now. Now, if all this sounds close, but you want something with more space, more privacy, and a neighborhood most people never find, this next one might be for you. And that neighborhood's Buena Creek. And it's probably a name most of you guys haven't even heard about. So when we bring it up to buyers, the first reaction is like, where is that? And then we take them out there and it just really clicks with a lot of people. Buena Creek is in the northern section of Vista, technically unincorporated county, and it has a completely different feel from most of what you'll come across in North County, San Diego. Now, when you drive through Buena Creek, you get rolling hills, you get bigger lots, you get a lot of custom homes, and a quiet that you just don't find in most of the coastal or near coastal areas we've been talking about today. And this is not a tract neighborhood. There's no real HOA. There's real variety in all the homes, different styles, different sizes, different ages, and the space between the homes actually still exists. Now, my brother lives right in this general area. He's got chickens. He's got a garden. He's been adding on to his house because he's actually has the room to do it. You have space out there. That's kind of what you're gonna find out there. People who move to Buena Creek choose it on purpose. They want space, they want privacy, they wanna feel like they have room to breathe without having to go deep inland to get it. And here's the value piece of living in this area. You're really not too far from everything. The coast is accessible. You got the 78 freeway nearby. You're just trading that density, the HOA, the tight lots, the land, quiet, custom character. And a lot of the buyers who end up here realize that they actually prefer the lifestyle to what they were originally looking at. And price-wise, you're typically going to get more home for your money in Buena Creek than almost anywhere else we've covered today. And if you've been here, you've never driven through that area, you should definitely go do it. It's one of the things that's hard to explain on camera, but it's easy to understand the second you get out there. And now this next neighborhood is the one that I teased at the very top of the video, the one that keeps people from ever wanting to leave. And the neighborhood's called San Alejo Hills, and this one's actually really special. Now, when I grew up in San Marcos, San Alejo Hills didn't even exist. It really didn't get built out until the early 2000s. It was just literally a big empty hill, nothing up there. I remember what it looked like before any of this existed. And then it got built and it became its very own thing. So people who live in San Alejo Hills, they say they live in San Alejo Hills, not San Marcos. Now, when they built this neighborhood, they built it with real intention. There's over 18 miles of trails woven directly into the community. There's a town center with restaurants, coffee shop, brewery, tasting room, some pizza, and it's all right there with inside the neighborhood. The trails, they connect the schools, they connect the parks, they connect the town center. Everything funnels together in a way that actually creates community rather than just housing. And schools are also a massive part of why people choose San Alejo Hills. San Alejo Elementary, San Alejo Middle School, they're right in the center of town. At the top of the hill, there's a newer school called Double Peak. And all three of these schools, you're looking K through 8. Kids are on their bikes, they're walking to school, and that's a real everyday thing here. For high school, you're looking at San Marcos High School, which got a brand new campus a handful of years ago. They tore down what was there basically like 1960s portables back in the day and built something that looks like a college campus now. And San Marcos Unified is consistently one of the top 5 school districts in all of San Diego County. And the community events and the lifestyle up here are definitely a thing. You have the tree lighting ceremony every holiday season, Oktoberfest, Hops in the Hills Beer Festival, movie nights. There's also AYO Soccer League that's almost entirely San Alejo families. So if you got kids in sports, you're going to see the same people everywhere. Games, practices, Shane's, pizza and pints afterwards, after the season. It really becomes your whole world when you're living up there, but it's kind of in the best way. Double Peak Park at the top of the hill gives you 360-degree views. And like on a clear day, you could see the surrounding mountain ranges, long stretch of ocean. It really doesn't get old. There's 18 miles of trails, and this is just within the community. There's tons of connections, like trails outside the surrounding community, but if you haven't been here, go check out the views up there. It gives you a real good lay of the land. And San Alejo Hills sits right on the Carlsbad border, but as you come down the other side of San Marcos, going into southern San Marcos there, you're in the middle of the biggest growth corridor in all of North County right now. New restaurants, new retail, new infrastructure. They're just building it and building it and building it. So you got established neighborhood above a lot of momentum building around it, like a real strong combination. Housing here ranges from townhome condos on the lower end up to larger single family homes and estate properties at the top of the hill with really, views that are really hard to describe. There's Mello-Root taxes that show up on your property tax bill. It's worth factoring in your cost of ownership when you're running the numbers. And there's HOA restrictions on exterior modifications, which really keeps the community looking and feeling consistent. So for relocators who want great schools, miles of trails, a real town center, and a neighborhood with a real community feel, San Alejo Hills is one of the strongest picks in all of North County. Now, if commute flexibility and access to one of the best school districts in the county are your top priorities, this next one might be your pick. Rancho Penasquitos, also known as PQ if you're living here, you're probably just gonna call it that. It might be one of the most practical and well-rounded picks on this entire list. PQ feeds into Poway Unified, consistently one of the most sought after school districts in all of San Diego County. And a lot of people buy in Poway specifically for that district. Well, PQ gives you the Poway Unified district without the necessarily paying the Poway prices, and with a location that's significantly more central for commuting, so that's a real value prop. Now, this 56 freeway runs right along the edge of the neighborhood, which gives you solid access to multiple directions. You go east, you go west, you go to Sorrento Valley, you get down to the coast, you go downtown. And when compared to Carmel Valley right next door, which attracts a lot of the same type of buyer, PQ tends to come in at a lower price point while delivering similar school access and similar commute flexibility. Now, the homes here are older, built in the 1980s, so not a ton of new construction in this area, but the lots are decent, the layouts are solid, and the maturity of the landscape, the trees, they've been there for a while, so you get a lot of coverage in these neighborhoods. And that's something you just can't replicate in a brand new community. It takes decades to grow. And the buyers who come from places with established neighborhoods really respond to that. Los Penasquitos Canyon Preserve is right there. It's just to the south. You have some real hiking, significant trail mileage, fantastic outdoor amenity, and it's like not too far away. Now, PQ isn't gonna win any awards for curb appeal, but the people who buy there, they're not really there for show. They're there because it works. They're there for their commute, for their kids' schools, for their budget, relative to what comparable access would cost somewhere else in the county. And locals have quietly loved this neighborhood for years. And more buyers are starting to figure that out. Now, the last one on the main list before, we actually do have a bonus neighborhood in here you're gonna wanna stay tuned for. But this one is completely different energy from anything we've talked about today. And that neighborhood is South Oceanside, AKA South O. And this is one of the most exciting coastal neighborhoods happening in San Diego County right now. And we've covered Oceanside as a whole in our previous video, so I'm not gonna go back over all that. But if you want a specific neighborhood within Oceanside with the most energy and the most momentum right now, I think South O is it. Now, part of that is because you're right near downtown Oceanside. And there's been a ton happening over the past 5 to 10 years. When we were growing up, this section of Oceanside was mostly parking lots, really not a ton going on. Since then, over these past few years, the restaurant scene has taken off, coffee shops have blown up, new breweries, local spots. Craft Coast Beer and Tacos is one of the go-to spots down there. Now, the beach access South O, it's all right, it's not great, but as you go north a little bit, it gets wide, it gets accessible, and a lot of times it's not as crowded as some of the spots further south. Buccaneer Beach down there, it's a great little nook. It's kind of a hidden little beach. And that's one of the beaches where I caught one of my very first waves. Now the housing here, it's got a lot of character. You've got older single-story ranch homes, beach bungalows, original cottages. It's really a mix of old and new on the same street in some cases. And a lot of these homes have yard space in the back. You have room to add on, you have room for an ADU. My sister lives actually right in that area. They added on a full bedroom, a full bathroom, and as of recent, they actually put a full ADU in their backyard as well. And then some of the original smaller homes on the bigger lots have been scraped and rebuilt entirely. So that variety is what gives South O its character. It doesn't really feel like a master plan community. It feels like a real neighborhood that happened organically. And the streets here are quiet local streets, not a ton of cut through. You have some walkability or at least e-bike ability to the beaches, to the restaurant, to the coffee spots. You can do it by foot. Once again, you can e-bike it there. And South O is still evolving, which some buyers is exciting. And for others, it's a reason they look somewhere more settled, but both are fair. But the direction here has been consistently upward, and the people who got in early have watched the neighborhood come into its own. But real quick, if you're watching this and you got a few of these on your list, but you're not sure which one actually fits your situation, that's exactly the conversation we have with people every single week. Budget, commute, schools, lifestyle, it all matters. And there's really no one size fits all here. So reach out, call, text, email. My partner Cassie and I, we answer all those directly, but don't go anywhere because this bonus neighborhood might be one of my favorites in all of San Diego County. And that neighborhood's called Cardiff by the Sea. And this is like its own thing entirely. Now, Cardiff is technically part of Encinitas. It's got its own zip code. It's got its own identity. It's really its own thing. People who live in Cardiff don't say they live in Encinitas. They say they live in Cardiff. And if there's one neighborhood on this whole list that captures what a lot of people picture when they imagine the coastal San Diego lifestyle, Cardiff is probably it. You have the ocean, you have the bluffs, you have the San Alejo Lagoon Trail, you have the rail trail running along the coast, and it's right in the middle of all that, you have Seaside Market. If you're buying in Cardiff, you don't know Seaside Market yet, that's gotta be one of the first things you got to check out when you get here. The Cardiff Crack, it's their marinated tri-tip. You grab it, take it home, throw it in some tacos. It's legit. You definitely got to try it. The San Alejo Lagoon Trail is one of the best outdoor amenities in this little section. And they recently built connecting bridges across the lagoon, so you have access to a full loop. You go to the areas near Solana Beach, Andes Canyon Trail, you go under the freeway, go to this whole loop. It's like 3 miles, 3.5 miles. Great for kids, great for dogs, great for getting outside on a weekday morning when it's not too crowded. And the lagoon itself is great. It's just a big nature preserve, so big open space, and it's right in your backyard. Now the community feel in Cardiff is tight. Small, long established people who have been here for years and have zero plans to ever leave. Some of the local spots have been here forever, mixed in with some newer additions. And that old school beach town feel is real. And the people who live there, they actually work to keep it that way. Now for beach access, a lot of the Cardiff coastline sits below bluffs, which kind of limits how you can get down there. But once you're living there, you're gonna find your spots. And down towards the south, where it kind of flattens out near Solana Beach, kind of that whole area, it's one of the best family-friendly beaches in this whole stretch. Easy parking, calm, it's really good for kids. Now housing in Cardiff, it runs the full range from original cottages, renovated beach homes, some condos and townhome communities, and larger custom homes near the bluffs and the lagoon. Now, inventory here is always really limited because it's a small community, not a ton that comes up at any given time. So when something does hit the market here, you have to be ready to move on it. And yeah, Cardiff is expensive. It's part of Encinitas, which is already one of the pricier coastal cities in all of North County. But for what it delivers every single day, the lifestyle, the community, the lagoon, the coast, the character, that has all taken decades to build. So Cardiff is one of those places where people buy in and really don't ever want to leave. All right, so we had 9 neighborhoods plus the bonus, and they each deliver a completely different version of San Diego living. And the key isn't really finding the best neighborhood on this list, it's finding the one that actually fits your life, because what works perfectly for one family is completely wrong for another. Budget, commute, schools, how close you want to be to the coast, walkability versus yard space, all of it plays a role. Now, are these the only neighborhoods I'd recommend in these cities? No, like I said before, there's a ton more. Every city we covered today has more pockets worth knowing. These are just the ones that stand out to me right now. Now, if you're serious about buying a home and moving to San Diego, my partner Cassie and I help people do this every single week. We know this county, but not from a map, from living here our entire lives. And if you haven't seen our broader breakdown of San Diego cities and areas yet, go check those videos out. We have them linked right down below. It's a great companion to everything we just covered and gives you a bigger picture before you zoom in on specific neighborhoods. And the free Moving to San Diego guide is linked in the description as well. We go over areas, climates, school districts, price points, things to do, our full relocation process all in one place. So definitely go grab that. And whenever you're ready, reach out, call, text, email, because we got your back when making the move here to San Diego.